At that time when I came in 2018, we're going to be having a seminar in 2 days' time, helping those who feel that they have something to offer and they want to come up to the UK, because now the UK has flung the door open, but that's not why we're here today. Apart from seeing that, I also saw that there was a glut of competent maths teachers and other STEM-oriented graduates from universities in Nigeria, Ghana, India, and the Philippines. STEM means those who are involved in science. Some of you are not involved in science, and you don't need to be involved in science for you to be in this program. I just want to show you the progression of what happened to me and why I decided to get involved in this, okay? And when I came in 2018, I came in for a master's in educational leadership and management, okay? Now, I've made this brochure available because I don't really want to focus on it. I just wanted you to know a little bit about Voice of One Education Consult and why we're getting involved in what is happening now. And basically, we wanted to provide educational solutions and support for international teachers, parents, and school leadership using excellent UK-based personnel and resources to provide a supply of competent and trusted teachers to UK schools, while also researching and producing media advocacy material focused on girl education, gender parity, empowerment, and education-related social issues. We now saw that there was a great need for capacity building and training for school leaders and management in Nigeria and Ghana, primarily. And while a great deal of resources are available from institutions in the UK, that they can be adapted to achieve this, all right? And the rest is history. I don't want to bore us with all that because that's not the main reason why we're here. Now I'm going to close that. And I'm going to take us in.
Hi, can we all unmute, please? Have you muted everybody? Or they can unmute themselves?
Okay, they can unmute.
Awesome, awesome. So apart from our wonderful VO1 team, we have Emeka Ngene and Efe Inikori. Would like to meet all those who have connected and we're good to go. Mr. Benjamin, I get to meet you all the way from Ilaje. I hope I pronounced it right. And I hope the network is good enough. So can we all introduce ourselves, please? So we can get going.
Can I start myself?
Yes,
please?
Reverend Christian. Yes, please.
Yes, Reverend Christian Okoye is my name. Incidentally, I'm holidaying in Canada now. I'm in Canada. Wow. And the time is just 6 minutes past 10 in the morning.
Oh my, just 6 minutes past 10. It's already day.
Yes, I decided to join this. My wife runs a school, Prince and Princess Academy in Jos.
Okay.
And I felt like seeing what people are doing.
Okay.
Thank you for the effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And how did you get to know about the program?
Through I think it was email. Or through email.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. An honor to have you, sir. Thank you for connecting.
Thank you.
Bye. So who do we have next? Who is going to introduce themselves? Mr. Benjamin, Mr. Fele, Mr. OOM. I love the smile, the picture, but I don't know what OOM stands for. And of course, Mrs. Babalola. Who is going next? Introduce themselves, please. We are waiting. I hope it's not network.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mom. Okay, I'm Fola Babalola from Abuja. So I
All
got
right.
this, I saw this on your WhatsApp, and I work in a school as the administrator. And when I saw the caption for the meeting, I was stirred up in my spirit because I know this is what I need in this season to prepare for a great academic section. So that was why I took this opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Awesome. So, Mr.
Good
Benjamin, are
afternoon,
you going
House.
to be able to introduce yourself, Mr.
Good
Fele?
afternoon.
Okay, Mr. OOM, could we have your name,
Okay.
please?
Good afternoon. Sorry, I forgot to
To
retype
rename.
my full name. Yeah, it's Olorungbemi Olusegun Matthew.
I just took a chance because I didn't see it as any of the names that I saw that had registered.
All right, all right. It means Olorungbemi Olusegun Matthew.
Yes, I saw it.
Yeah, I'm the CEO of Oatsbridge Global School International, Abuja.
Okay.
So I came across this, I think, from one of your WhatsApp chats, and I saw
wow.
it as a great opportunity to add to what we have on ground, knowing fully well that there is no end to learning. So every opportunity to learn is always a step forward. So I decided to take a very good advantage of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. And you've already told us how you got to know about it. So you've gone ahead of us.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we have just two, Mr. Fele and Mr. Benjamin. I hope it's not network. Thank you for enabling your camera. I'm going to be insisting later down the road. So, Mr. Fele and Mr. Benjamin, are you going to be able to speak? I know you guys, one person is from something Ekiti, and the other person is from Ilaje. So there might be connection, but it's been web streamed anyway. And so without much ado, let's get going. Is that all right? We have so much to cover in 2 hours, and I promise you, I'm not going to take it easy on anyone here. I like being a tough trainer, and I believe so much. I love what Mr. Olorungbemi, did I pronounce it right?
Yes.
What you said about Oatsbridge Global Schools, right?
Yes, Global School, yes, international.
And honestly, that encapsulates what we're doing here. We want to believe that every single person in this group right now, there's still a number of people that are supposed to connect. And I'll tell you, that's one of the reasons why, even though I like doing free seminars, sometimes I'm really like, because when people don't pay for something, they don't appreciate it. If they had paid, they'll make sure they can, but I am going to make it, this one is going to be free, and it's for a reason. It's because it's introducing us to a 3-day program that we're going to be having in Abuja. And because this is our first year in the consultancy business, we felt it's only right to show what we have, showcase what we have, and have a 2-hour intensive seminar. It's going to be really intensive. You would think you were in okay, he said he's unable to unmute. I wonder why. Because everybody is unmuting.
Yes.
Mr. Fele, everybody's unmuting. So we don't know. So we're going to go into, you would think, oh my goodness, you've been to a master's class and back. So we're still expecting Mr. Andy from Lagos. We're expecting Upward Schools. I don't know where they're from yet. We're expecting Shola Yusuf, and we're expecting John Chinedu. Yeah. And Mr. Kende Oluwadare. Super, super. Awesome. So very quickly, I'm just going to put up my PowerPoint. Is that all right? And we're going to run. And I'll be explaining everything because we're all going to work together. One of the reasons I'm so excited about what we're doing now is because I have been to seminars, and and it's wonderful what people have done. But we believe in VO1 education that we have something new to bring on board. And after you've had this experience, I want you to please tell us honestly, if you've been through a seminar that's like this, I want to connect with that person. But if you haven't, and you see that we have brought in a new perspective into hosting seminars, I really would love your feedback. Will you do that for me, sir, Mr. OOM?
Of course I will. The pleasure is mine.
Awesome. Mr. Fele, Reverend Christian, Mr. Benjamin. Mr. Fele, you have to unmute. We have to hear your wonderful voice. All right. And of course, my wonderful team members, that is FA, Emeka, and of course, you know me, Adeteju Alonge. So very quickly, let me start the business. And we are going to share. Right. And if I remember very well, I believe my brother has taught me how to make sure that it is showing full. Okay. So have I gotten it right?
Okay. Yes. Great. Yes.
Yeah. It's all about learning, like Mr. Lauren Bemi said. So very quickly, welcome to the VO1 Education Consult Seminar for Educators 2024. Our time right now is we're good to go. So very quickly, and it's great to have you, Mrs. Babalala. It's been a while. All right. Now, why is it not moving? Have I done something wrong? Okay, I found it. So very quickly, why the word remarkable? Preparing for a remarkable academic year. The word remarkable means worthy of being or likely to be noticed, especially as being uncommon. We haven't finished what we're doing until you tell us, and we hope you will, at the end of your academic year, the uncommon things that happened in your school that you got wonderful feedback about. Does that make sense? I would love a reaction. Uncommon. It means that we believe that with what we're going to do here and in subsequent seminars as we have them, you would be able to partake of the uncommon grace that every single one of us have as educators. There's a uniqueness inside of us, and I'm going to explain why. Okay, so the word remarkable means uncommon or extraordinary. Everyone can be extraordinary. So the housekeeping rules, please keep your camera enabled unless the bandwidth doesn't allow you. All right, that way you're being engaged like Mr. Lauren Bemi. And Reverend Christian, you're in Canada, so we should be able to see you. You can't have bandwidth problems, sir. So I hope you're going to enable your camera so that we can be mutually encouraged and enjoy the synergy.
I tried to enable the camera, but it says please allow Zoom Workplace to access your camera from device setting. And I said okay, and it's not accessing, is it?
Okay, we forgive Zoom Workplace. It doesn't like your camera for whatever reason. So we forgive it.
I don't know why I didn't connect.
Sorry about that, sir. All right, we'll just go ahead. Now, please, we're going to stay unmuted like this because I think we're all observing, and we're not going to unmute anybody, not yet, unless we have interference. And so we just want you to stay muted and start to eliminate background noise. So introduction time. You've already watched a bit. For those of us who came in a bit late, I showed a brief part of a seminar that we had last year where we introduced VO1 Education Consult. We have a professional team of over 100 years experience. Each one of us have spent close to a decade in formal education before coming on board to offer our services. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why. The simple truth is I'm privileged. And some of you might know who my husband is. His name is Bishop Bob Alonge. And my incursion into education was just being a submitted wife. I'm not ashamed to say that. I know that these words like submitted wife and all that get some people really upset in the educational sphere, but that's who I am. And the beginning, Mr. Lauren is laughing, it's true. I'm like, what's going on here? But you see, I have to speak about who I am because my background, I studied electrical engineering, made the highest score into University of Lagos in my year. I wasn't trying to make the highest score. We're going to be talking about that. 347 with 100 in math. And part of why we're doing what we're doing is because of my faith that I carry as a minister. I'm well aware that we're going to have people of different faiths connecting to the conference, and I'm not in any way trying to invade their privacy, but I have to speak about who I am. And I led a very vain life. Coming into uni for me, I wasn't trying to make, I had no vision. I wasn't trying to make the highest score. I just happened to love maths. My parents invested in me. And then when I got into uni in my third year, I had what we call an encounter, and I became a Christian. I was a Christian on paper, but I wasn't a Christian in my heart. And that changed my values. And I really felt guilty that I'd come into University of Lagos with the highest score in JAM, 100 in maths, and I was in the low 2-1. And so I prayed and I asked God to help me to make a first class. And I started to read my Bible and to check what the Bible had to say about education and reading. And I took steps that I felt was impressed to me by God. Now, if you came to me and preached to me to become a Christian, what we call a born again Christian, I would say to you, you have to prove Jesus to me in the laboratory. That was how arrogant I was. And so when I started to see that the Bible had so much to say about education, it changed my perspective. I was in my third year. In my final year, as a result of what I saw in the Bible, and I practiced it as I felt inspired. I made a GPA of 4.79. The highest is 5. So I started to take the Bible very seriously. I now felt that with all that first class, I was just going to go and become a full-time minister. And I got married to this wonderful man of God whose passion is to reform Nigeria in education. His father happens to have been the first Nigerian, among the first Nigerians to own a school after the missionaries. He was very passionate about education, Chief B.O.B. Alonge, and he poured that love in my husband's heart. And so down the line, my husband would tell me, because I was like, I don't want to have anything to do with formal education. I just want to read the Bible. I want to study. I want to preach. But down the line, he felt convinced in his heart to start a subsidized faith school in Abuja that we've been running for 21 years. And I took over to start running the school approximately 18 years ago. That's how I got into education. And I did a postgraduate diploma in education in order to cross over, because my husband believes in competence. I wasn't just going to run the school because I'm the bishop's wife. I needed to be competent. And when I went through the course, I was so excited. And I was like, why is this not happening in Nigeria? Why are we having people doing things in a corrupt way? Even there at when we're having exams, somebody will get up and pray, and the next minute the same person is asking me to cheat. And I'm like, what's going on? And then when I read about all the qualities of the teacher and everything, I said, this is not what we're seeing in the classroom. And we're having to interview so many teachers. We couldn't take their certificates as authentic, even if they had it, because they could cheat and all that. And I just used to wonder. I didn't realize what the problem was until, as a result of my husband's passion to reform Nigeria, we are here in the UK. He's doing a PhD. I'm supporting him. I just finished a master's in educational leadership and management in 2018 in the University of Warwick, Coventry. And as I was going through the class, I spent half of the time crying because they were giving me statistics about Nigeria that I didn't know when I was in Nigeria. And it wasn't anybody's fault. It was mine. My life was so full of the church, looking after the school. We subsidized it. So I spent so much time raising funds. Then I spent so much time working on the curriculum. My husband and I have done a master's with the State University of New York online in curriculum design, because he felt so strongly that the way we were teaching in Nigeria needed to be upgraded. And then when I got here, I finally realized what the problem was on my part. And my part was I have been going through private schools in Nigeria, and there were British private schools. And my husband went to an American private school, and then he now went to King's College. And I did my uni in University of Lagos. And when I came here, I will not lie to you. I was upset. I was like, what all these statistics? Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children. I said, I thought tuition was free. Then I found out that, yes, tuition is free in the public schools, but people could not even afford the transport to go to the public schools. And then there was the issue of private schools being too expensive, even the church schools. And that was one of the reasons why we subsidize our school. We use an American curriculum to teach the Nigerian system because we believe that Nigeria has something to offer. We just have to upgrade the way we are teaching. And so when I got here, I started to work as a supply teacher. And I remember leaving my master's after, and I finished with a 2-1. And this was because I really didn't have that much time to read. I was still doing things in Nigeria, you know. But we started an out-of-school outreach as a result of what we heard now. We sponsor, how many children do we sponsor in the church? Emeka?
10.
10, yes. That is children that are not going to our schools, that
Yes.
are going to public schools, but they can't afford the transport and other things. And then in our school, we have quite 80% of the children are either on scholarships or discounts. And the woman down the road who's selling akara can put her child in our school. And the more I started to interact, the more I felt the pain. And that was why I came into education consultancy. We started a company looking for free and affordable courses to educate people, teachers internationally, starting with Nigeria. Because of who my husband is, we have international connections. So we have educators connecting from different parts of the world that want us to mentor them. And honestly, here we are looking for, and even if you don't use any of our paid services, we'd love for you to visit our website. We put on free resources there. We're ready to send you free materials. There's so much available on YouTube. And I kept on asking a question, why? Why are we seen as developing countries in Nigeria? As a developing country in Nigeria, while India, who started with us, is now being seen as a developed country. And we're going to be looking into that. And that's why we're into consultancy now. We want to ensure that international educators become globally relevant, globally minded, so that people will start to come to Nigeria and attend our schools. We have something to offer. We're called the Giant of Africa, but we all know that we have we appreciate where we are, because there are countries that are worse than we are, where we are now. But we need to become more globally minded. And in order to achieve that, we need to look at things that are happening, and we're going to be looking at that now. I'm ready to get into it. And I'll just like a reaction if there's anyone here who thinks I've just made some sense. And yes, we want to be more globally relevant. We believe Nigeria has something to offer, and that Nigeria will be known educationally. And we'll have people coming from different parts of the world to bring their children to Nigeria. There's already that happening on a minor scale, but we want it to increase. So can I get feedback from the house if I have made some sense?
Very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So we're going to go straight. You've already told us your name, your school, but you all have forgotten to tell us your favorite food. So we need to hear what your favorite food is.
Why? Mine is the Nigerian swallow.
Nigerian, so any swallow.
Honestly, but especially semovita and egusi soup. Egusi mixed with vegetable.
Oh no, I'm in trouble. If you guys continue, I'm just going to cry, because here to go to the restaurant and order that, I will not tell you how much it costs in Naira. Awesome. Reverend Christian, what's your favorite food, sir?
I'm sorry, I don't know if it is necessary.
You don't want to tell us?
I don't know if it's necessary, because we don't have much time, 2 hours to go, and we're talking about food. We should talk
Just
for
one
something.
just 1 second of telling us about your food. You're going to
No,
know
don't,
why. It's one
don't
of the
feed it.
best. It's one of the best practices.
No,
That's what I'm
no,
applying. You're going to see in the
don't
future. So
feed it.
I agree with you, and that's very relevant. You don't see the relevance. I'm going to tell you the relevance later. You're going to see that. So is there anyone else, Mrs. Babalola? I hope you can hear us. Network.
Yes, ma. I don't have any favorite food. I don't have any. I just love any good, well-prepared meal.
All right. Okay. That's a new one. Okay. Well, thank you. Is Mr. Fele available now? Can we hear him? What about Mr. Benjamin? That means they can't hear us. And we're going to be talking about that. We're going to address everything. Now, this is how we're going to conduct the seminar. Like Reverend Christian said, we have a short time, but I tell you, this short time, we're going to be able to multiply it. These are learning gaps that I have found here in the UK. And having been in the Nigerian educational system for over 2 decades, I can tell you when I got here, I was like, why are they teaching like this and we are not teaching like this? Everybody knows, and that's why so many people come to the UK to upgrade their education. You even have people coming from the US, from China. What is the uniqueness in the British education? This is the uniqueness in British education. And please, I don't mind being challenged in any way. I'm not one of those that feels I know it all. If you don't agree with me, please feel free to say you don't agree. Is that okay? It doesn't bother me. That's one of the practices here. They love being challenged. They like proving their point. And so I'm going to talk briefly about Bloom's taxonomy and a prevalent style of education in Nigeria. When I got here, I remember it was too funny. They kept on saying, my background being engineering, I was used to writing reports and all that. But when I got into the education field, because of my PGDE, because I'd done a PGDE, they said I was fine and I could do a master's in education. I remember a lady professor from Africa, from Swaziland, said, I think you should do a PGCE here, a postgraduate certificate in education. I said, no. They said our PGD is equivalent of a PGCE. I'm going to go into a master's. By the time I went into the master's and I came out with a 2-1, and that was just like having to catch up on all the learning gaps. My first assignment, I had written it. I was so sure it was going to be an A. I'd given it to a mentor in Nigeria. Problem, mistake, because I should have given it to a mentor in the UK. A mentor in Nigeria was like, this is wonderful. And the person was also not an educator, but a scientist, and had written like a scientist. And when I got a C, I was 2 marks less than a B. I was upset. I was like, what's going on? First of all, I was shocked that the exams I was going to have did not have any theory or objective. It was for me to write a paper. And I've forgotten what the topic was now. I'll check later. And it was very humbling, very humbling. And I remember when I came in during the orientation, that they said, we want academic writing, not descriptive writing. I said, particularly for international students, we write in a descriptive way. They wanted academic. So I was like, what is writing? I know how to write. And I tell you, we mentor international students here. It's an outreach that we do free. And many of them will tell you that it's a struggle for them to write academically because that is not what is prevalent in the way we write in Nigeria. And academic writing, in a nutshell, encapsulates what is called the Bloom's taxonomy. And all of a sudden, I can't remember, I can't forget the time I found this. I was like, what? All this while. In Bloom's taxonomy, you have 6 levels of thinking. I remember we had a program in our church called Project Head Start, where we reached out to the whole community. No one was exempted. We gave out, what you call it, everybody was trained, anyone who wanted to start a business, and we gave out grants to everyone. We had both Muslims, Christians, non-Muslims, non-Christians. We must also remember there are other faiths in Nigeria. There are people who are not Christian, they're not Muslims, they're traditionalists, and there's some that are just there. You know. And so I remember my husband and I had been saying it, but I didn't understand it myself. And one of our speakers, his name is Jimmy Tewer, he used to be high up in the UBA, said Nigerians have a lot of memory, that that the part of their brain that handles memory is very big, but the part that handles imagination is very small. And so we don't know how to solve problems. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. But when I came here, I kept on hearing that we do not, and I want us to understand this, by the time you leave this seminar, I want to believe that you will see yourself as the expert. This is one huge mistake that we make, where we think that education is about having one expert in front of us and the expert tells us everything. No. Here in the UK, and you're going to get to know a little bit about a woman called an associate professor called Kim Ainsley. She's an international educator with the University College of London. She's our friend, and we're currently working on a national educative initiative project in Nigeria. The VO1 is very passionate about it because, like I told you, we're looking for free and affordable courses, and she's been in international education. University College of London has been #1 in education in the whole world for the past 11 years. And as an international educator, she said she got tired of training people at such a high price. And because of what's going on in Africa, the exchange rate, you don't have many people connecting. So she decided to set up a course that is 1/10 of the online courses that is available in University College London, 1/10. She just started it 5 years ago. And so when we were looking for free and affordable courses and we're talking to people, many of them said, look, we can't give you any further discount. You guys just have to, you either have people coming here for their masters or they're borrowing so much money to go through it and all that. But one person now said, I know a woman who talks like you, who feels that international educators should have more affordable education. And she has just set up an international postgraduate certificate in education at 1/10 of its price in University College London. I said, I got to meet you. I got to meet her. And I met her. And meeting her just encapsulated so much of what was in our hearts, that #1, you are the expert. You are the expert. You know your situation more than anybody else, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a principal. Mrs. Babalola, you are the expert in your school. And every uncommon thing that is going to happen in your school, we hope that you will be one of those initiators, because you know the problems of your school. And she would say, and we have a free a playlist where she talks about it, and you'll be so encouraged that we do not tell you what to do. We give you skills that will equip you. And that's why this seminar is going to be different. We are not going to tell you what to do concerning your school. We're not going to tell you that this is what you need to implement this year. We're not going to tell you that this is how to do what you are going to tell yourself. You are going to find out from what you know about your school, what you've seen, and the grace that you have as a leader. You are going to find out yourself what would make your school remarkable this year. What will make you stand out and do the uncommon things this year. And when you look at the Bloom's taxonomy, majority of how things are being taught in Nigeria, which we're going to actually apply the skills of the higher level of thinking. So you have remembering. I'm sure you agree with me. How do we teach? I mean, prevalently in Nigeria, when we want to teach the states and their capitals, we tell you the state and we tell you the capital. So we start with Abia, Umaya, Adamawa. Help me now. What's the capital of Adamawa?
Yola.
Yola. Good. Next one. What's the next A? Is there any other?
Akwa Ibom.
Akwa Ibom. Calabar. Who is next?
Anambra.
Okay. Next.
Bauchi.
Benue.
Bayelsa.
Oh,
that's what we do. That's what we do standard. Here in the UK, if they are going to teach the states and the capital, they would ask you, if you go to the taxi park and you want to travel to a particular state, the taxis go to the capitals. Which taxi will you go to if you want to go to Akwa Ibom? And incidentally, when I had, like I said, my encounter, that was one of the things I felt God showed me in the Bible. Joshua 1:8 says, the book of the Lord does not depart out of your mouth, but you meditate day and night. Out of your mouth, not out of your head, so that you will see and understand what to do. Application at the end, what to do. If what you are teaching does not bring you to a place where the person is doing, you have not passed. Learning has not been achieved. If it does not end in doing, and unfortunately, and so I'm telling you, when I was having my experience reading the Bible, I actually felt God telling me, because I said I wanted to make a first pass, and I prayed, and I felt him telling me, sorry, you can't. I said, why? And I heard him say to me that the Nigerian system emphasizes cramming, memorization. I emphasize meditation. Huge memory, but little imagination. Like I said, this is my background, and I don't mean to invade anyone's privacy. You see things in the Bible that says, you have well sinned. I will hasten my word to perform it. You have to see it, imagine. We're going to be talking about the power of vision. As a result of changing my reading, like I said, and learning to read, not just to remember, but to stay on it until I understand it enough to be able to apply it. And so you have remembering, you have understanding, you have applying it. Then you should be able to analyze it. The Bible talks about counting the cost. Do you have enough at the very beginning? You're going into an academic year, you want it to be remarkable. We are going to equip you with skills for you to sit down and say, what do I want to achieve? Do I have enough right now to achieve it? And if I don't have enough, how do I get enough from the very beginning? And I'm going to tell you that it's not primarily about your resources. It's primarily about wisdom and the strength to be able to overcome challenges, because challenges are going to be, and as much as possible, you might see some challenges in this month of August that you overcome. And then there are also going to be challenges in September. I hope I'm making sense. And then in October, and then in November. And so you have to have the grace to be able to overcome challenges above so many other things that one might take as a priority. And then you have to be able to evaluate yourself. Where am I going? Because as a leader, the buck stops with you. I say this, and I say this with a lot of pain. When we came into the UK, we connected to a group that handles Christian schools. And I heard an alarming statistic that as of 2010, there were 60 Christian schools. And as of 2020, they're down to 20. Just last month, I was told about a Christian school that has closed down. And the painful thing is I knew one of the teachers and she got a job the same week the school closed down. So the buck stops with you, the leader. Whether you are the owner, whether you're the, my sister is the administrator, Reverend Christian's wife is a proprietress, the buck stops with you. And you have to recognize that if anything happens to the school, you're the one that's going to feel the pain the most. Mrs. Babalola is here, even though she's the administrator. It's obvious that the reason why she's reaching out is because she's a stakeholder. She sees the school needs to improve and that she has a part to play. She could easily say, no, it's left to the proprietor or proprietress to do something. And so you need to be able to evaluate where you are, and you're going to see us doing that. I'm just telling you how we're going to conduct this seminar. And then we're going to give you an opportunity to create and put you under pressure. The course that I told you about, I was so excited when I got to know about it, because you can't get your certificate unless you have implemented the principles you have learned. You have done something with it. So many certificates are being given out without people using it. No, not to write an assignment, to actually implement it. Am I making sense to someone? Not to write an assignment and get an A, but actually an A in application over a period of time, that it works. There's so many papers being written in research, but when they are now applied, do they work? There are many ideas that we have. Does it work? And if it doesn't work, how do we change? So for this seminar, and we are going to start to run, you are the expert. I hope that is clear. We are not in any way trying to tell you what to do in your school. We're going to equip you with skills. We're not just going to give you information. We're going to be using papers for all the 4 topics: power of vision, harnessing the digital world, developing best practices, and parental involvement. We're going to be using papers that other people have written, and 2 of them mine. And you would read that, and we were going to read it in a collaborative way, because we're going to harness even the fact that we're quite a number here. And we're going to go into breakout rooms with more than 1 person, and somebody will read one part, because when you have a paper, it can be very lengthy. It's always better to just read the introduction and the conclusion. So someone will read the introduction, someone will read the conclusion, and you will discuss, and then appoint a spokesman or a spokeswoman. And when you come out of your breakout room, you tell us what you've learned. You are the expert. And when you tell us what you've learned, we want to encourage you to apply it in your school, either to tell us how your school is embracing this practice or how your school will embrace the practice, because we want to learn. We had a situation where a lady, an international student, graduated from here, went to Nigeria to law school. And she could see how the classes were not interesting like they are here in the UK. And she went to meet her lecturer, and other students were complaining. And she went to meet her lecturer and she said, oh, could we embrace this practice? You know, it will really help the children to engage and all that. And the lecturer goes, this is not University of Birmingham. Somebody came. Here in the UK, the student is given every room to engage in the class. It's not just about pouring out information, it's giving them information that they can use. And if you don't get feedback from them, here in the UK, you have their, inspectorate that checks the quality of schools. It's called Ofsted. That is one of the reasons why people come to the UK a lot, because in Ofsted, they check, when they come to check a school, they check every 2 years. They check what you say as a principal. In Nigeria, it's just what you say as a principal that they check, and they check your books. Ofsted will ask the students what they are receiving and how happy they are. Ofsted will ask the parents to give their view of the school. And allow me to use the Bible again. When I saw this, I was part of one, and what thoroughness. They check everything, the safety of the children in the school. And I felt this was what you call 360 degrees, that when you are as wise as a serpent sees 360 degrees. One eye covers 180, the other one covers 180. You see every side. And that is what you also have in academic writing, 360. When you write here, an academic in the form, they call it critical writing, you must show, if you have a view, you must show information that negates that what you're saying is right. Be aware of the negative part of what you're talking about, but still bring it back to your opinion. And so you are building people who are well-versed. Many times we start something and we are not conscious. What are the negative things that can happen? Even unfortunately, as a Christian, you see people say, no, that is negative faith. And that's not faith. Yet the Bible will say that Abraham believed against all hope. He was quite aware. When God was speaking to him, God says you're going to have children, but yet he was supposedly too old to have children. He was well aware, but the word of God came knowing this. And I remember meeting, I have to use a Christian again. I told you I'm a minister. I hope, everyone is all right with my examples. And I met him on the plane. And he told me, he said God wanted him to start a hotel, but he didn't think the hotel was going to prosper because he won't sell beer. And so I asked him, I said, the God who said you should start a hotel, is he not aware of the pressure to sell beer? Why don't you ask God how to overcome? Or his mind. And so we say, oh no, we're not going to speak negative, but your mind is full of negative anyway. And many people, and God has never, Genesis 1, it was when there was darkness, he called in light. Challenges don't stop him from declaring what he wants to do. And as an educator, challenges should not stop you from saying, this is what I want to see established in the school. But you have to ask yourself whether that vision is something that can be established. You know your vision. When I got into university, I didn't have a vision. That's why I went from having the highest score in JAM to a 2-1 instead of a first class, because I just did it because my parents invested in me. I wanted to please them. And many of us as educators, we actually allow the parents or the society or the students to give us a vision. Yet we have been equipped. We that started the school, we know what we wanted to achieve. And we don't realize that as pressures come over and over again. I'm a wife, so this example is coming. I'm sorry to all wives here, please. But I just have to use this example, you get married and unfortunately, somebody is drawn to your husband and it looks as if your husband is drawn also. And all of a sudden, maybe your husband likes swallow. Like my brother said.
Like me.
Yeah, like you. And the person who is drawn to your husband sends in rice, and all of a sudden you start cooking rice because you don't know who you are. Am I making sense to someone? All right. And so that's how we get distracted. We have something to offer in Nigeria. But many times when we come under pressure from colonial or from outside, we're going to be looking at it, policy borrowing. So much policy borrowing is happening in our education. We just hear of a concept outside, or maybe in another school, and we do not check, is it going to work in my school? What do we want to achieve? And studies have shown that policy learning is better than policy borrowing. We've carried, I'm sorry to say, we've carried the English curriculum, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some have carried the French. We are using the American curriculum. But at the end of the day, we have to develop a curriculum that is unique in our school, that would ensure that our children, for example, this for me was just mind-blowing. We have an internet problem in Nigeria, yes or no?
Yes.
And our network is not as strong as here in the UK. somebody wanted to teach in Nigeria an American curriculum. So you know what they do? They sent hard disks of the curriculum for people to play. They don't need to connect on the internet. Does that make sense to someone? I'd love some feedback. That is policy learning. They say, oh, they don't need to be online. They send the hard disk, and the hard disk is duplicated in different centers, and people come there and they are trained. And if they have to go online, it's just once in a while. That is called policy learning. That's more effective than making the curriculum totally online. Did I make sense to someone? Just a little bit of, can you see Bloom's taxonomy there? Understanding the facts, applying it, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Not just as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be. And many people are running online courses, and you'd have breaks in between. People cannot, for example, Kim is the course she's running. They found out that quite a number of people can't understand the English being spoken because they're maybe from Malaysia, India, and all that. So you know what they've done? They have a transcript running as the person is teaching, so that even if you don't understand, you can read. Applying. But we have, unfortunately, prevalent in the Nigerian system. This is what I was taught. This is how, so you go, supposing you say, man is a woman. Let's just say that's what you're taught. So they ask the question, who is a man? Man is a woman. Who is a woman? A woman is a man. I'm just saying hypothetically. And then which two genders are related together? Trouble, because that was not how it was delivered. You have lecturers telling you, just say it the way I said it in the handbook. You can't bring it out in your own way. You can't prefer solutions to the problems that you could encounter in the school or in the lecture hall, or things going on in the university, given as a project. How do we solve this? And implementing it. So we're going to be using papers. We're going to guide you to develop the solutions, and we are going to grow in better citizenry values, because I'm proud to be a Nigerian, and I know you are. And we need to develop our values. So let's go. Are we ready? The power of a vision. And I'll need you to bring out your sheet of paper, or if you're digital, bring out your digital device. We're going back to back. Thank you for listening. Any comments, please feel free. I'd love to hear from you before we start to run. And it's approximately 4 o'clock. As we're going to split it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You made a very good point. I think we are lacking in the area of imagination. And that's a very important concept that we should try to develop.
Thank you so much, sir.
We have the intellect, but we don't have the imaginative ability to propose something and carry it through. We can only say, oh, that's how they do it, that's how they do it. And I think it's a good point we should note and think of how can we be different from others, and see how we, for good,
yes.
Good.
For good.
So that is a good point, and may God help us to carry it through.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that feedback. And I'm sorry to say this, it's very painful, but I'm sure you heard about the Olympic, someone who was to register and she got here and the federation didn't register her. She couldn't run. They forgot to register her. And maybe something happened. The day they wanted to register, there was an internet problem. And so if there's an internet problem in your establishment, what is wrong with going to a hotel nearby that has good internet connection and paying a little extra and registering the person? And you know, we keep on saying it. So we can start something in Nigeria, but to sustain it, we are going to sustain our vision for the school. You are going to sustain your vision. At the end of the year, it should be remarkable because there was no challenge that you couldn't overcome. It is possible. So very quickly, do we have our papers out? And we start to run. We're just going to go because we have 4 topics to quickly go through and an assignment. Are we ready? Our papers are ready. Need you to write down. Remember, I'm not going to, from now on, I'm not telling you what to do. I might speak. You are going to tell us, you are going to speak to us. We want to hear from you. You are the expert. So first of all, could you write on your sheet of paper if you have a vision? Have you thought of a vision for this year that you're going into in your school? And what is that vision? What are the elements? If you could write 3 to 4 things you want to see happen in the school this year. And I'm talking about this academic year. So very quickly, we have approximately, I'm timing, 2 minutes. And for the school administrator, I know you're going to talk about your part, but what do you want to see? Once you're through, 1 more minute, just give me a thumbs up, please. Mr. Luwadari, great to have you. I hope you can hear us. We haven't heard from Mr. Fele. Thirty seconds. I've already shared my story. Now, what were the elements of your vision for last year? You've written the one you want to see this year. Can you use anything as a reference? Thank you for that thumbs up from last year. So for example, if you wrote, like I wrote, better academic performance for our children. Was that your vision last year? If it wasn't, say so. But if it was, also say that. So just note it there. This was a vision for last year. So we have 2 minutes for that. That is, how do you relate your vision for this new year to last year? And in writing what were the elements, could you also include if you were able to achieve your vision last year? But if you didn't have, it's okay. Reverend Christian's own might be to support his wife. So he can ask, okay, how did I support my wife? What did I do last year? And what can I do this year? So were you able to achieve it last year? Anything at all? And then we need to count the cost. What are the challenges that you perceive can affect what you want to achieve? So you've written the elements of your vision. You've compared it to last year. So as a result of that, what are the challenges that you think? And then you have to ask yourself, do you have the strength to handle these challenges? Do you think you can? And many times as leaders, we need to ask ourselves, where do we get our strength from? What gives us the strength to do what we do? Is it the monetary aspect that gives us the strength? Or is there something stronger? Do you have a to-go person, somebody who you can talk to that is on the same frequency as you? And I have to say here that it's critical, especially for someone like Mrs. Babalola, that you have to know the vision of the proprietors, the person you're assisting, or the principal, because being the administrator, is your work as administrator different from the principal? Mrs. Babalola?
Yes, ma.
Yeah, so if you have a vision and your principal doesn't agree with it, it's going to be difficult for it to work. So it's always important to understand your scope and your sphere and stay within that. If not, you're going to find yourself using a lot of energy. Not only that, you can be so busy trying to change the principles that you end up doing what you're not supposed to. I mean, you end up not doing what you're to be doing. You know, and then I use the example of Samson's mom. She was so busy trying to get her husband to do what he wasn't called to do. Even the angel had to tell her, tell your wife to do what I told her to do. Let's use our energy right. And then the question you have to ask yourself, are you ready to sacrifice? It's going to cost. As that school leader, you have to be ready to sacrifice to get the work done. And I have to come in here. A lot of us as Nigerians are asking our leaders to sacrifice. And I keep on telling people that our relationship with us leaders is like husband and wife. Now, you know who the husband is. They are the ones in authority, so they're the husbands. But as wives, we have to learn to treat them with respect and do what they're supposed to be doing. So if you're telling them to sacrifice, make sure you're sacrificing first. And that's when our prayers will not be hindered. The Bible says we should give thanks for our leaders. That doesn't mean what they're doing is right. But I've never saw Jesus speak against Herod or whatever, and Herod was doing terrible things. But he kept on sacrificing and doing what's right and changing within his sphere. He said, I haven't come to handle politics in that regard. I've come to change lives, starting from their heart. They wanted him to lead a revolution. Said, no, that's not what I'm called to do. And so it's always important. I'll give you an example. For a long time, I blamed the federal government for things that were not being implemented. Our school is a primary school. I was shocked when I found out that it was the state government that was responsible for primary schools. And in our own case, it was universal basic education. So we're blaming the wrong people. Even right now, I'm trying to get to know the Constitution and pray according to the Constitution, because so many of us don't know, what the Constitution is, what is going on. And God expects us to be submitted to authority. Or submission to authority doesn't mean you do everything they're supposed to tell you to. If not, Mary would have aborted Jesus because Joseph didn't understand and she was submitted, but she didn't obey. But submission was she acknowledged his position. He was even thinking of putting her away. And we don't see her throwing a tantrum or starting a revolution. But she kept on trusting that the Lord would change things. And she kept on grooming, incubating Jesus in her womb. And this was the path that God ordained. He could have told Joseph from the very beginning. She had to go through fire. So are we ready to be flexible? That's also something. It's wonderful to have a vision, but as you're going through the years, some things will change. Somebody was telling me that there is an outbreak of something called monkeypox, I think in Uganda or somewhere. What if we have another season that it was like in the time of COVID? Do you have online learning in place for your school? We have to consider if we have enough. We just went through what was it, a non-violent protest, If something like that happens, is your school going to close down? Online learning, and we're going to be looking at that, is not an option for us right now. It's something we need to develop in. I'm sure you agree. And lastly, policy learning and instead of policy borrowing. So here we're going to get into the breakout rooms. Are we ready? And so how many people do we have? The article, policy borrowing or policy learning, we have it on our Google worksheet. And we're going to have 10 minutes of discussion. So we're going to have the groups. We have Reverend Okoye in one group. We have Mr. Olorungbemi in one group. We have Mrs. Babalola, she should be with Mr. Olorungbemi. Is that all right? And then we have Mr. Fele with Reverend Christian. And then I'm going to put Emeka. You need to read some, educate. So which group do you want to go into? Efe, which group do you want to go into?
Anyone.
Any, all right. So could you post the Google link so
Okay,
that
ma.
everyone would have access to it? We're going to go into breakout rooms. And remember, it's a paper, so just somebody will read. So let me appoint a leader. Mr. Olorungbemi, will you be the leader for your group, please?
With all pleasure, ma.
Thank you. And Reverend Christian, will you be the leader for your group, sir?
Very much involved. If you can excuse, if you can get another leader, please.
Oh, okay, no problem. So Mrs. Babalola, will you be a leader in that group? Is that a yes? So do we have you posted the Google Drive? Do you have it or I should do it?
Okay, I've seen the email, so I don't know which one in particular.
It's called Paper One, DRAP.
Okay. All right. All right,
got
I've
that?
seen it. Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen it. Yeah.
So could you post it? Once I see it posted, we are good to go.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you so much for the comments, sir. Mr. Olorungbemi, thank you. So have we seen the Google link? We are going into, so you just click on it and read it. Somebody will read the introduction, someone will read the conclusion. We have 10 minutes in the breakout room. Is that all right? And Mr. Emeka and Efe are going to be there as supportee. Breakout rooms starting now. So it's going to tell you to join. Please join. You'll see something, join a breakout room. Thank you. Mr. Fele hasn't, so, oh, great. Mr. Fele has joined. So FA, you need to join. FA, you need to join. Can you see it? Are you frozen? He seems frozen. Reverend Christian, you haven't joined. Mrs. Babalala, you haven't joined, please. You need to join. Thank you. Mrs. Babalala, you need to join. Hello. All right. I am going to join.
Okay, I've gone back to the main Zoom.
Awesome. And I'm here with you. I'm here
Yes.
with you. So I'm going to go to the document now. Is that okay? So just give me 1 minute.
Okay. Just okay. Let me see whether I can.
Sometimes the internet acts funny. That's why you have to prepare.
Yes, and most of us are not too conversant with these things. My son has been helping, but he just left the room. So, but it's okay. I'm waiting.
Yes, I'm connecting you. Okay, that is it. And let us share. So can you see it now?
Preparing for remarkable.
No, policy borrowing or policy learning. I'm sharing the screen.
Policy borrowing or policy learning. Yes, I've seen it.
Awesome. So please, sir, you go first. Could you read that part? You have to read it to yourself. I'm going to read. So you're going to read policymakers are interested. 1, 2, 3, this 4 parts. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to read the end. So I'm leaving you to read this one while I use, this is the area you should read. This whole part here, 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 here.
Okay. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 arrows.
The bold part here.
The 4 arrows. The 4 arrows.
Yeah, 4 arrows. No, 5.
Okay. Okay, 5. Okay.
Okay. So I would now go to my own phone and read it there.
Do I not start from the beginning?
Yes, please.
Do I start from the beginning? Policymakers are interested in learning.
In learning, yes. Thank you. And I'm going to read the concluding part. Are you almost through, sir?
Yes, the last line couldn't come up.
Okay, so let me get it up. Let me get it up.
It uses international experience Yes, okay. It uses national experience for a broader range of purposes, including learning about one's own system and policy options, funding processes of change and anticipating issues. A policy learner approach also learns from a country's own history and develops forms of governance with effective communication between policy and parties.
So we need to discuss it now. Mr. Kinde, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon. So can you read the same thing Reverend Christian said, is reading, and tell us your views on it? So while you're reading it, Reverend Christian will just share with us, and then we'll decide who the spokesperson is, who will speak on behalf of our group when the other group comes in. So what have you observed, sir? What would you want to say?
Well, my feeling, well, the issue is, I think the man is coming to the point where we should just almost do what you were trying to say. That is number one. Have your plans? What are the challenges? How are you going to overcome the challenges? What changes and then what variables? I think it was almost trying to emphasize what you have told us, which I wrote down here. This thing has gone down again. I couldn't read it because there was one.
Go on. Yeah.
And you see, this issue of using international experience for a broader range of purposes, including learning about one's own system, identifying policy options, understanding processes of change, and anticipating issues that possible policies would raise. I think that's a major issue there. That's one needs to take note in any development you want to make and any vision you want to accomplish. These statements he made here are very crucial. And I just noted it. I don't know.
Thank you. No, you see, I'll give you an example. Our school started using an American curriculum to teach the Nigerian system. And the curriculum is made available in Nigeria. The workbooks are brought from abroad. They're called PACES. But something happened. And what happened? They had problem bringing it in through the ports.
Yes, yes.
So we were without, sorry, Mr. Luwadari, what do you mean by the screen is split? The screen isn't split here. Reverend Christian could read it.
Yes, ma'am. It's split into two here. For example, I cannot read the complete write-up. I can only see a policy borrowing approach such as international experience for exam. I cannot see the rest.
Wow.
No, scroll down. You mean he wants you to scroll down?
No, he can only see the first sentence.
No.
Okay, ma'am. Don't worry about it.
Are you okay now?
Yes, I can see it clearly, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Yeah, sorted. So, Reverend Christian, so you can imagine. So we're without the PACES for quite a while.
Yes.
Because of, you understand? And so what, incidentally, South Africa has embraced the same course. And what they did was they started to produce the PACES within South Africa, but it took time. So there was a break.
Yes.
So when we borrow policies, we just get their workbooks. And then also, their workbooks was focused because it's American. They were using the dollar. They were not using Naira.
Yes.
So there's a need. It's not that we shouldn't use their workbooks, but we should know ourselves. In our school, we had to wake up to that.
Modify.
Before we were just doing policy borrowing. But when they now had trouble, we had to think of more creative ways.
Good.
You understand?
That's what I gathered from what you said. You says, are you ready? First of all, when you said here, when you said, do you have the strength to handle the challenges? Where do you get the strength from? Are you ready to make sacrifices? And you see, And are you ready to go for variables? Like you said, like recently, what people are experiencing in Nigeria is that most of the foreign printed books are very, very expensive.
Yes.
That piracy has almost overtaken the market, making it cheaper.
No, Reverend Christian, we did not do piracy. We just told the people we're going to photocopy. I want to tell you what we did. I want to tell you what we did. We told them we have only one good copy left. So we're going to photocopy.
Yes.
And they gave us, you understand, they had to accept it.
And they give permission. That's what I mean. So it's not piracy. You got permission to do that. But in Nigeria today, most of these business people go to China and then just, by the time you bring the two books, you see the difference. But this is the problem people are facing now in Nigeria.
Yeah, but the thing is, Reverend Christian, even if they do that, the textbooks themselves, are they up to date? Do you know that one of our children had a problem with one of the workbooks? This is coming from America. You put in there that mommy stays at home to cook, daddy goes to work. But in his own house, both his dad and mom go to work.
Yes.
It's not up to date.
The issue, you see, if you are getting from the original publishers, are not good. If again they update, in fact they update, they change editions. So it depends on where they are getting their books from, whether they are getting it from the original publishers.
But sir, I'm sorry to say that, but some of the Nigerian textbooks that are made in Nigeria, they do not get they do not update.
We try to. Okay, yes, it's true. You see that you talk about editions. What edition are you using?
Exactly.
You see that, because when we ask our children we tell them which edition, because I know if it's the latest edition in the market, there's nothing you can do about it. But we make sure we get the latest edition, and but all the same, there's that problem there.
You see, and that's why this meeting came. He said that the teacher is the expert in their classroom.
Yes.
They're facing challenges every day, and the children need to be taught to think. And so you're teaching them your mom does the cooking, the mother does the cooking, and your mom is going to. That's information that's not going to work.
Yes.
You understand? Or you're telling them about you buy a book that's talking about the American dollar, and they're working in Naira.
Oh well.
And they've never seen 50 kobo before.
Yes.
Because it's not available. So how do you as a teacher find 50 kobo for them? You know, so you just don't take the textbooks and just teach. You must adapt it.
Modify.
And when the textbook is not up to date, you as a teacher should teach the up to date and explain that people have to update.
Yes, yes.
So it helps the children to be flexible. We need to develop flexibly minded children. Teachers and produce children, because that's what makes us globally relevant. Those are the little keys. So for example, if PHCN takes light, is it not possible to have an alternative? You were using a projector and the projector is not working. Is it possible to have sheets of what you wanted to project? You could even ask the children to draw it and turn it into an assignment. And so we need to develop, you know, just not take a policy and say, okay, this is how they were teaching it, maybe in China. It's good to be globally minded, but globally minded with flexibility and adapting it to the Nigerian system.
Yes.
And we need to think, you know, and so incidentally, the part that I read, I don't know what part Mr. Kende has been able to read, but I'll just say briefly in 1 minute. They pointed out that Scotland took a policy, I think from China, implemented it. There were schools that did not improve, and there were schools that improved. And they pointed out that the schools improving might not be because of the policy from China. The study did not check what were the steps that the schools took to implement the policy to show an improvement. And that talks about collaboration. Even the issue of collaboration, how many schools in Nigeria come together So do you come together with another school and say, okay, how are you teaching the Nigerian curriculum? How are you handling these challenges? We don't even have a forum where we can post challenges that we're having and help one another. I'm not aware of any. Are you, sir?
Well, there is NAPS. There is NAPS, National Association of
I know
Private.
of NAPS, but do we
Yeah,
discuss our challenges in a group?
Let me tell you why what you are saying looks a bit difficult. You know, in private enterprise, there is competition. There is competition in private enterprise, and if you come to share your secret with others, what are you doing to yourself? So you can see what they are saying. What they are saying is applicable in the Western country where people are broadly minded. But when you look at Nigerian concept as it is, you discover that as at now, anybody who finds a way, minus few of us who are Christians, who feel that whatever God gives you is for blessing of others as well, you find that go and get another person and say, come and tell me how you are succeeding. He will give you opposite. But all the same, I agree with what you are saying. We need to collaborate to be able to make progress. Because
so we have to find, let's even look at teacher hiring. There's a system here in the UK. If you left a school and you go to apply in another school, there must be a reference that is easily accessible. Because that's happening. Even parents living from one school to the other, you just can't do that here.
Do you know that? Let me give you a typical example. Many people change schools without transfer certificates. Especially without transfer, they just go to the school and tell them, I want to join social class. We had a problem in our school because we insisted that nobody will write the primary 6 exam. Most private schools have only primary 5. And you know what? Because our children are so brilliant, they can pass common entrance in primary 3, they can pass common entrance in primary 4, and their parents took them, and they went and passed, and then they went and finally they came back and said we should give them certificate of living.
Can you imagine?
We can't give you primary 6 certificate. Number 2, when we refused signing their forms, what they did was they went to another school who signed the forms and they sold the uniform of that school to go and write the exams. So there is a lot of problem in the. That's why I'm talking about competition and keep people trying to. When they did that, we're very upset that our children who went to write the common entrance saw those in primary 4 and 3 with another school uniform in the same class with them coming to write.
So you see, this is what we're saying. Okay, this is a challenge you've met.
Yes.
How are you going to overcome it?
Once
you know that there are parents that are like that, you can't change how parents behave, especially with the situation in Nigeria that allows them to do that.
Do you know what we did? What we did?
Yeah.
We made sure that first of all, if you want your child to go into secondary school at any level and you want us to sign the form for you, we'll sign the form. But when you don't come back to us to ask us for primary 6 living certificates, because we didn't do primary 6 living with us.
And we're not going to lie for nobody.
But you know what they do? They go to another school and go and get primary 6 living certificates. But that doesn't bother us.
It doesn't. Yes, so you don't allow it to deter your vision.
We have established our system and they are complying because they will come and tell you, oh, we want to pay for all the fees for the terms, and we'll tell them, sorry,
imagine?
Money is not our concern. Our concern is
sir, you have to take into cognizance that there will always be those number of parents. So when you are planning for the academic year, you recognize that there's some that will leave from primary 3.
Definitely, yes. We don't expect all of them back.
We don't expect. Even what we've now done is you sign, you fill a form at the end of school to say you're coming back.
Okay, that's what some do. They can fill that form. They can still fill that form and not come back.
No. We have added refundable deposits.
That is it. And in our own school, I know in our own school, because of the demand we have, we tell them, if you don't resume 2 weeks after resumption, we'll give you a position to another person.
Well,
That's what we
like
do.
you see, now we're talking, because for us, if you pay a deposit of 10,000,
Yes.
if you don't resume, you forfeit it, unless you told us a month before school started.
Okay.
But if you continue with us, we just deduct the 10 from your fee.
Okay.
You know,
And
so that you see how we are learning from one another. And so
yes.
if it's just our two schools collaborating, that's
Yes.
fine. It's a beginning.
Yes.
It's a beginning. And say, look, I will share with you, and incidentally, you are in Jos, we are in Abuja, so there's no competition.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it.
So, but even with we are ready to collaborate with the person down the road.
Yes.
You know, because at the end of the day, we have that full conviction. What is ours is ours.
It's true.
If someone leaves our school to go to your school, it's not going to make us better. But the ability to be able to discuss, because it's terrible being alone and you're going through so much. And if you're able to discuss another school to tell you, oh, this is what is happening, it brings things, we're talking about the overall growth. You understand what I'm saying? Of us as in Nigeria. So one of the things we must accept is parents are not going to change. What you're even saying, there are parents who would move their children out of a school. A friend of ours went through that in SS2 because they will not buy the paper for SS3 exam.
Mm-hmm.
So they move them to another school that buys paper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and unfortunately, they couldn't overcome that challenge and they closed down the school.
Good. Good.
You know, but no, I mean, it was bad. They closed down their school because they didn't have enough SS3.
Yes, it's okay.
They were not able, they didn't know how to overcome it. They didn't, you know, if they're able to discuss with somebody else that might, this is how they handle it. People are solving problems. Let us help one another.
Yes, I agree.
So we have to find a way of collaborating. I don't know, Mr. Kende, anything you want to say before we call in the others? Internet, what we're saying. So Mr. Okoye, Reverend Okoye, you are going to speak on our behalf. Just tell them two things. They will tell us two things. I'm bringing them out of their breakout room so we can go to the next.
What will I tell them when you have said everything? I don't know. Were they not hearing you?
No, they're in the other breakout room.
Okay. So do I go back?
No. We're bringing them out now.
Okay.
So we're now going to discuss. They will have their own spokesperson. So they're coming to join us. So their spokesperson is going to tell us two things, and then you tell them two things we discussed. So that's how we're going to be doing it. We're moving straight to the next one.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'll do that.
And you see how we have built, we have shown that we're experts. We're not just coming here to learn. We're coming here to learn from one another, collaborate.
Yes. Thank you.
That is how it's being taught here, sir.
Okay.
And they do so much research.
Yes.
If something went wrong this month, they've spoken with one another and they've come up with a solution. And they implement it the next month amongst one another. It's so, I'm like, what? No, things have to change the way we're teaching it. And you can imagine if sometimes you involve the students to be a part of your discussion. You'll see that you'll be able to see it from the student's aspect, from the teacher's aspect, and you find out that your school is going a lot better.
Starting at the bottom with the ball guideline, we're going to go ahead.
Okay.
Over to the other side at the top, we're going to fade from a number 2.
Hello, welcome back.
We're just going to connect.
How was it? Who's your spokesman or woman?
Okay, so we read, and we've just, the three of us, we shared our view.
So who is the spokesman? Is it Mr. Olorungbemi?
Yes, Mr. Olorungbemi, yes.
We're ready to hear you. Tell us 3 things that came out as a result of your discussion, and Reverend Christian is going to tell us 3 things that came out of that.
Okay.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been quite an interesting meeting so far. The first thing from our discussion, the ones I picked before my friend came up, was about the importance of policy learning over policy borrowing. Like we rightly discussed before now, our system has been more of a kind of theoretical way of learning, in which, we just, this is good, that one is good, we just bring it to the system, irrespective or not considering exactly what subsists in our environment. I gave an example of, like I said, we just started the school here, we call it Old Bridge Global School International. We just started some months back. We've been nursing the ambition of owning school. So a lot of atmosphere has been really militating against it, but we just have to push and get started. Now, what I now noticed is this: being the part of the country here in Abuja, I discovered that many of the, some of the pupils we have were not so good in using the English language to learn. We discovered that some of the topics we teach them, by the time we begin to explain in the local language, they tend to grab more and faster. But here we are, the parents are not ready to hear that. They will just take that for a crap. My child comes to your school, cannot speak English, so why am I spending the money? And off they go. They pull their child out, and here you are on your own. So now, for you to do that, it's going to take time, it's going to take effort. But how you match it to the expectation of the parents is a very, very big challenge. That is one. And in trying to explain to the parents now, you have a lot of talking to do, a lot of way to convince them, and and there are competitions around. And one thing personally I've come to see and discover is that there is a lot of fraudulent practices. I'm sorry to use that word, fraudulent practices in the private school system. You see a child will come to school and then go back with results. You see excellent, A, B, A. And it's a lie. At the end of the day, you see the child cannot even repeat or even give back what the child, what the result portrays. And it's a very big problem. And here we are trying to make sure, because of our own teaching line experience over the years, we are trying to make sure, we shift away from the narrative, change the narrative. But it's a very big challenge, I must tell you the truth. So policy learning, adapting whatever, policy borrowing may be good, only good if you can adapt it to your system. Bring it down to your system. How does it affect your locality, the type of people, the language they speak, the social life? Something happened, sorry for taking it, something happened last week. A child was to attend the Islamia, that's the Muslim, I think, is it kind of Muslim catechism that they attend. And then, because it's still within the lesson period, the mother was so furious with us that what exactly are we learning? Are we the only ones operating a school? We just release the child and let the child go. So we had to revamp again and find a way to restructure the lessons to bring in, the aspects, to bring in the Islamia period to the child, so that at least the parents will not be furious, and at the same time ensuring we give to the child the best possible. So it's very important. Policy learning is adapted. Whatever you are bringing in, find a way to adapt it to your environment. That is what learning is all about, and not just bringing in something. Then
thank you so much. Okay. That was just, and you see this is how this format is how things are taught here. Where you just don't, as a teacher, you just don't teach for that. No, you get the students to read themselves and to discuss and to develop the expert in themselves. And so you're teaching your students how to be problem solvers, not just telling them, this is what I'm teaching, this is the theory. And they might, like you said, they get an A, they pour it out, but they can't give back. They don't remember. What you have shared with us, I'm going to remember, especially because you use personal experiences. And it was a discussion. And so it's so important that we're going to be going straight. We're just going to go back to back, and then we're going to settle on parental involvement because of time. But you've been able to see how, more than anything, we've given you skills, not just information, that you can use to develop by yourself. Thank you so much, sir. Reverend Christian, what would you like to share with us from our own discussion?
Thank you.
In our, I think I was in room 2.
Yes.
And the leader of the room 2 Wouldn't you like to say something before I come in?
She's not here. She's
It's not
logged out.
okay. Now, in this policy sharing, I think one of the things that came out clearly from that is that we should try to educate our teachers and children to be flexible.
Wow.
Flexibility is very, we shouldn't be dogged. And you just teach a child 1 + 1 = 2. And then you bring one orange and say, this is an orange, this is an orange. What is the total? The child no, you don't have time. Let me give you a joke. There were this Hausa man, Igbo man, and Yoruba man who brought their children for competition. And they were all thinking that their children would be the best in mathematics. So they called the Hausa boy and asked him 30 + 30. Quickly, he says 60. And they called the Yoruba boy 30 + 30. Quickly, he says 60. And when they called the Igbo boy 30 + 30, the boy was just lost. So the father was angry that he wants to disgrace him. And he asked the boy, 30 naira + 30 naira. And the boy says 60 naira.
It can only be cracked by an Igbo man, which you are.
So we need to try to, but also teachers. So you may have a textbook that's outdated or using symbols that are not peculiar to the children. You will be able to try to adapt it, make it flexible to the children, so that especially like we said, if the book you're using is having dollar and cents and cents, and the child doesn't know what is cents, and in Nigeria we don't have kobo. It's not easy. So how do you teach it? You must adapt. You must be flexible. That's number one. Number two, it's good to cooperate, to collaborate. You see, cooperation brings success and brings upliftment. I agree that people may be reluctant to tell you how they are doing, but if you have any good friend, try to liaise with them. What are you doing? How are you doing it? Share your problems. Because the Bible says that in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Yeah.
So collaboration is very, very important. So I feel that this flexibility, collaboration
awesome,
are two very important issues I would like to bring out. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. How are we leaving this segment real quick? With knowledge, each one of us being able to contribute. And that's how the pattern is going to be. So let's quickly go. We still have 3 topics and we're just going to go through it. I'm well aware of time. But we can see we're having so much fun. We've done this part and developing global best practices. The world is a global village. I'm sure we all like. We wouldn't even be connected if it wasn't because of the internet. And Nigeria has something to offer educationally on the global platform. Right now, what do we currently offer in Nigeria on the global platform? Who would like to say? What do you think we offer? We're known for football, right? We're known for, what else are we known for?
Entertainment.
Entertainment. Wonderful.
Afrobeat.
Afrobeat. So what are we offering educationally?
Okay, educationally. Educationally. I don't think Nigeria is offering anything educationally, frankly speaking, because you see, as it's been said, the system of education that was brought to us by the West brought us grammar school, secondary grammar school, and we speak grammar. No artisanship, no apprenticeship. No, you can't do anything with your hand. And so what I think is that I think the Nigerian government is beginning to think towards making people use their brain rather than just memorize and pass. And that's why they're bringing all this apprenticeship and
on board. Yeah.
On board, awesome. Yes. So I think that is what I think the educational system is going towards to now, 6334, But all the same, globally, I don't know whether I can say Nigeria is offering anything educationally. I don't know.
Yeah, but you see, sir, when a Nigerian gets to the UK, they excel.
If not only UK, everywhere in the world, we are, with the brain we have.
Exactly.
Let me tell
But
you another joke you
yeah.
will laugh at. You know, there was this man who needed brain surgery, and he was taken to the brain bank and showed him the brain of a UK, America, India, and after showing him everyone, they asked him which one they want. He went and pointed to a black man's brain. When he pointed to a black man's brain, everybody was shocked. What are you doing? What are you doing with a black man's brain? You know what he told them? He told them that it has not been used at all. They have produced nothing. It's not been used at all. So he wants to harness it so that I can, because actually, as he rightly said, we have not used our imaginative brain side. So
Exactly.
that's by the way.
And so the goal of VO1 is that Nigeria has something to offer. We just need to upgrade ourselves.
That's it.
We need to upgrade what we have. If we can upgrade, if we can learn these skills, like you said, we will go to the top.
Yes.
And we will mingle with all those who are at the top. I'll give an example. There was a minister who went to buy a refinery for Nigeria. And unfortunately, because the educational system does not teach prevalently how to think, he buys a refinery that cannot refine Nigeria's crude oil.
Yeah. You see?
That's what we're suffering right now, that they have to export the crude oil, get it to a state to bring it back for a refinery to use. Because of application. It starts with the educational system. And so what we are saying in VO1 is we are not going to wait for government to change. We that see the need for a global upgrade, we will reach out and learn what are the global best practices and implement it in our school. And I tell you, Reverend Christian, Mr. Olorungbemi, it is possible for you to develop your school to a point where you'll be having international students.
Yes.
And you will start a different, because there are quite a number of Nigerians that bring their children back in the diaspora, bring their children back to Nigeria because of the moral standards. Because they don't like the moral standards in the UK or in the US. But at the end of the day, they still have a problem with the way education is being taught. Now you can imagine if your school starts to embrace global practices, and we're not going to dwell on this. I'm going to send you the PowerPoints if you want. You would read the paper, because I want us to focus on parental involvement, the last part. But if it's something you see in the future for your children, because it's critical, like Mr. Olorungbemi's school is called Global Schools. It is possible for people to you can develop an e-learning system where people from outside Nigeria are connected to your class through internet. And they're paying you in dollars. Because you've made sure that your curriculum is international. And what makes your curriculum international is not primarily teaching about that country. For example, someone connecting from China. But having, for example, if you develop a system that enables people to excel in maths, people will connect from abroad. And so developing your system means you investigating. And so there's what you need to know what you currently offer, you as a school. Reverend Christian has spoken about how we don't have anything. Okay, so but is there anything, what do we need to grow to offer globally? Making global learning our standard. One of the things that we're thinking of for our school, and we're working on it, my husband is doing a PhD. I'm going to be starting a PhD. And that is what we believe has helped us in blending we teach the full Nigerian curriculum using an American system. We want to put it on YouTube so that other people can have access to it. And I tell you, this is a proven method that will ensure that children own their own learning. I just started teaching maths here as a tutor. And the way we teach it in our school, the Covenant Academy, I've just applied it, and I've been telling people they have problem with special needs education here in teaching the children. I said the way we teach it in Covenant Academy, as a result of the study, we found out that it's very good for special needs, and I've started using it for children with special needs, and the result is amazing. And they always look at me and like, you're coming from Nigeria, we have something to offer. So we're now going to make that principle available globally. And you have had some positive outcome in the way you're teaching. It might even be in the way you're handling your staff. If you can find the global best practices and embrace them in the way you're running your school and start to offer it. If you go on YouTube, people are offering different kinds of things. Why can't we offer something similar? We have something to offer. We have something to offer. So knowing where you are currently, giving yourself a benchmark, determining the steps you need to take, considering the hindrances, and most of all, the steps that you take now. Is that okay? And this is the link that I'd love for us to read further when we can during our own time. And I sent a paper earlier for discussion, which talks about school leadership development and preparation. And this was because I envisaged something like this could happen and would not have time to read it. So Mr. Lauren, did you have time to read it? You were supposed to read it before coming.
I must confess I didn't.
So Reverend Christian, did you have time to read it?
Sorry, I didn't.
So I'm going to catch you now. You have to read it, but
I think.
Yes, sir.
I didn't. I saw it, but I said I will read it later on.
You know, no, that's fine. But when you do read it, remember, just look at the introduction and look at the conclusion. The painful thing is that India and Nigeria were giving UNICEF grants for school leadership development. India has taken that grant and it's now a university. If I tell you that there is an agency for school leadership development and preparation in Nigeria, in Abuja, are you even aware of it?
No way. Not at all.
And they are bringing out courses supposedly to develop leaders. That's what UNICEF is paying for. They're actually, if I get you the address, they're actually in Abuja, a bit down in the Wuse area. And they have a grant. And they are training in very small cohorts. And one of the things, how did India come out of being a developing country to a developed country? I want to tell you, it's not the government. People like you and I decided to make up the difference that the government cannot do. And everybody got involved. And so I want us to seriously think about that. If you remember that, I can't remember which president of the US said, don't think, or is it UK, don't focus on what your country can do for you. You focus on what you can do for your country. And I'm going to leave us with, I'm going to leave us with that as a challenge. And when you read it, you'll find out that we have to get involved. It's one of the reasons why we're doing VO1. And we're focusing on free and affordable courses. It's not that we couldn't do anything else, but no, we want to build Nigeria. And we want to cover the areas that the government is not able to cover. Even right now, as I'm speaking to you, the course that we found here in University London, because it's done with University of London, but it's been run by the associate professor from University College of London. It's a partnership. When I heard about it and how low the cost is, I was like, Nigeria must have a lot of students there. They said, no, they had not seen one Nigerian student. I said, what is wrong with us? International countries are picking up this course because it is so affordable, where the standard cost in University of London is like 16,000. This cost is 1,834. and it's online. I'm talking about an online course. And so we need to get to that place, and we find out that one of the global practices is that whatever government has, we're going to take it, add to it, and make ourselves globally relevant. So enjoy the paper when you can. Then the next one is harnessing the power of the digital world. Reverend Christian has already spoken about how his son is the one helping him with all these digital things. And we have a paper that talks about a definition of something called media panic. Has anyone heard about media panic?
No.
So what is media panic? That is when a new innovation comes. Look at when they started cell phones. There were some people who refused to use it. And so we must develop that mentality, like Reverend Christian said, to be flexible. Policy learning and not policy borrowing. And so you need to look at your school. Where are you now in using digital technology? What growth is possible with regards to the current resources available in Nigeria? We have to be sincere. We started with how many people? They keep on going out because of network issues. How do we overcome that? So if we're going to do online courses, how do we overcome that? This course by the University of London, they have thought it through. They've seen the resource. So the contact time is 3 hours. If you have problem with your internet, they download the transcript for you so you can read it. And then your assignment is simple. You must be a teacher and you must practice what you're teaching in your classroom. And you must get feedback from your students on how well you're teaching. So you can't just say you're teaching. They've dealt with the transparency aspect. And they remove you from the course, no matter how much you've paid, if you're not meeting up. So that most of the content is what you're doing on ground, not what you're doing in the internet, on the internet, because of the internet problems. Is that not wonderful?
What level of education are they doing that? Is it nursery, primary, university? Because from all indication you've been talking about, you've not told us maybe this course may be for university level.
No, the course is a postgraduate certificate in education, international.
Because most of us who run nursery, primary, as you are saying it may be good for our staff.
Very good for your staff.
But then the question, because the staff is teaching a nursery primary school, by the time they assess the person, they're assessing what they're not expecting. Because if it's a postgraduate course, they will expect adults and mature graduates.
No, not at all.
Adults primary.
If you're teaching, that's the interesting thing. They've covered everything. They've looked at it. If you're teaching in a nursery class, for example, you have what is called a critical friend. That critical friend is another teacher in your class, in your school.
Good.
Who will be giving feedback about how you're teaching.
Oh, critical friend.
Yes, critical friend.
Okay.
Not the principal.
Not the pupils.
What you will do is you take pictures of what the pupils have done and submit it. It's called a portfolio.
But then it's for those who want to do postgraduate course.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, for example, I don't know if you heard that there was a time when they needed more, like now there's a dearth of STEM teachers in the UK, teaching maths and all that, and they wanted people from Africa. And
yes,
most of the people, sorry?
Up till now, they're still looking for physics, French.
Yes, exactly. But why are some Nigerians not able to make it? The problem is, number one, you have more Ghanaians coming over because first of all, you have to show that you're connected to the Regulatory Council of Teachers in your country. They will even pay to bring you here. Number one, you have to be working in a secondary school. Number two, you have to show you're a member of your Teachers Registration Council. In Ghana, you just need to go online, key in your number, you get a letter. In Nigeria, as of last year, you have to pay 60,000 to get it.
And not only that, you need to pass. What is this exam they write?
Qualifying exams. Yeah.
US, right? IELTS.
Yes, you have to pass your IELTS unless you can prove that you the spoken English was what you were trained in.
No, but Nigeria, the only thing, in fact, that's why we're against the British people, because they knew that the English is almost our first language, and we speak better English than them. We write better English, and see, they ask them to go and.
Take it from me, sir. I have done IELTS.
My children have done it.
Yes, exactly. The way we teach in Nigeria does not embrace better understand, because if you're going to be a doctor here, you have to be able to understand the type of English the person is speaking to you.
I have a doctor. I have 2 doctors in UK, and but I agree with you. I agree they have reason for that.
They have reason for that, but why can't we change the way we're teaching English to include listening, helping our children to listen to English people speaking? It's part of the training here.
Not many schools do diction. Not many schools do diction and phonics.
Exactly.
And that is a major problem. The way we
that's why they don't trust what we're doing, and they insist we must do IELTS.
Okay, I agree.
And then also you must have what is called a portfolio. What I was telling you, a portfolio is you got your lesson notes, your children, how they're learning, reviews from your principal, reviews from other teachers, reviews from parents. You must gather a portfolio as a teacher. And so you have people coming from Ghana more than Nigeria, because we're not embracing the best global practices.
Yes,
okay. So the power of the digital world, what growth is possible with regards to the current resources available in Nigeria? We talked about the fact that with the internet problem, how do we teach our children to be digitally savvy? Even though we have internet problems, they can still learn how to use laptops and all that. It's just that we have to use courses that don't have to be online all the time, and teaching them how to download. This IPGC that I'm talking about, they'll teach you how to go download what you're supposed to read it, and then send your comment back by email. It doesn't have to be one-on-one. We need to harness the digital world. There's YouTube, so many things that you can learn from YouTube. And then how do you overcome challenges and become a remarkable educator, which you're already doing as we're talking about the solutions. And so that's the paper you would have read. So this is the last one, strategies for better parental involvement. And guess what? We are going to teach ourselves. So it's 5:13. I think we can finish 5:30. Is that all right?
Even up to 6.
Are we okay with that? Even to 6. Okay, fine. Yes. I'm ready to go. So I'm going to put the paper online now. And at the same time, we're going to send you the Google, for those of us who can access it by Google link, okay? And then we're going to read it for 10 minutes, and then each person is going to say, this is what I learned. Now, in order for us to cover it, and this is how we use the collaboratory skills, each person will take a section. So if someone is reading section 1, I'm going to put it up now for us. Is that okay? Emeka, have you done that?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Please, let's not forget, you were talking about a particular location in Wuse for
the leadership learning.
Yeah, can you just don't forget to drop us the address?
All right,
you talk about a link as well.
Promise me you won't go and jack them up. Now you collect your money from.
No, just to go and see what exactly is happening there and how one can really benefit from it.
And they have courses. Okay, I'll get it for you. It's actually in that paper.
Okay.
Yes, because it was part of what I discovered. So let's.
All right.
So, Chaplain Emeka, do you have it?
Yes, I have it.
All right. So I'm going to put those of us that can read it directly, because we're going to put it in groups. Is this it?
Yes, parental involvement.
Good. Incidentally, this was a master's with State University of New York that we did. My husband and I. And I'm going to share screen now, if you don't mind. and we're going to give ourselves the different sections. Okay. And we're good to go. So this is it. I hope we can see it. Parental involvement. So we have, it's an action research. Action research means that we carried it out. We just didn't discuss it. Okay, we did it as a group. So who is going to read the abstract? Who is accepting to read the abstract? Mr. Lauren, would you read the abstract for us?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, good. Who is going to take the introduction?
I can read the introduction.
Thank you, sir. Who is going to take review of the literature?
I'll take the review.
Awesome. And then I would read, I'm not going to go near the method. It is already, the method is I'm going to take the results. Okay. And no, let me give that to Efe. Efe is the engineer. Efe, would you take the results, please?
Okay.
Just glean through it and come up with it. And then I will take the last part, which is the discussion and action plan. So we have 10 minutes to read our own segment. And if Mr. Lorugbemi is able to finish, because this is abstract, it might be a lot shorter. I would love for him to read the, to add to his plate, the discussion and action plan. Is that all right, sir? So we have 10 minutes. Reverend Christian, I'm going to leave it on your part. Is that okay? Because you don't have access to the Google Drive.
I'm seeing it now.
Oh, it's working on your phone now?
Yes.
Super. So.
But you've gone out again.
Oh, no. I am the one that put it up. I thought you were saying that you could see it on your phone. So I'm going to put it back.
No. Put it for me again. It's gone out.
Yeah.
Please.
So I'm going to put it for you. So there it is. And you are going to be reading the introduction. So when you need me to move it down, let me know while I'm looking at the discussion plan. Is that all right, sir?
So who's reading?
No, everybody is to read for 10 minutes and then we come back.
Do I start?
Yes. No, you don't read it out. You have to read it to yourself.
Okay, okay, it's all right.
So that's why I said, once you want me to move further down, I'll move further down for you while I'm reading my part. Okay. Everybody else is reading on their phones.
Okay, thank you.
Please, I can't find mine, the abstract.
Okay, it's at the very top. You have to, can you access it on your phone?
Yeah, I've requested for access, but nothing has been done.
Oh, what did it say, sir?
I've clicked on request for access, but I'm yet to be channeled.
Okay, let me grant you access.
Okay, but okay. I had said access to anybody who had the link. I wonder why. Okay, grant access real quick.
All right, ma.
Sorry about that. Have you sorted that?
I'm on it. Yeah, I'm on it.
Okay. All right.
Okay, done. You should be able to access now. Granted the access.
I also don't have access to the link.
Have you requested?
Yes, I've granted you access.
Okay. Sorry.
I've granted you access. Check.
like it's opening up.
Awesome.
It's loading.
Can you scroll up for me, please?
All right. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Mega, it's showing me request assets. Request sent. That's what it's showing me.
Oh,
Hold on,
you know what? Let me just send you.
Okay. All right. I think I've sent it.
Okay. If not, I was just going to send it to you by WhatsApp.
Okay. I'll send it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Can you scroll me up, please?
Yes, please.
Scroll up, please. Can you scroll me up, please? Okay, is that right?
Is that okay? Okay. Or do I need to go up a little bit?
Okay, is that right? Can you scroll?
So
It's okay.
you're at the end. We're going to review of literature.
Okay, the end. Okay.
So it's just for you to get ready to don't be with us for 2 minutes. What you understood by what
Please,
you
man,
read.
the second part you said I would take, was it
At the end, the discussion.
the discussion? Okay.
The very last before the reference.
Okay, the discussion and action plan.
Action plan, yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready when we are. You have just 1 more minute.
I'm okay.
Thank you. So I can stop the sharing and we can start discussing. So, Mr. Lauren Gwemi, you go first, sir.
All right.
You
I
have
don't
2
think I need
minutes
to
to
read.
tell us what you've received.
Okay. From the abstract, I can see that the parental involvement, we call it the PIIP, that's parental involvement sorry, I take that again. The parental involvement intervention program, yeah. Is really designed, summarily from what I gain, is designed for parents not to just be oblivious of what exactly is happening with their children education. They need to be part and parcel of what exactly that children are doing in school. Let me use this word, that children are in their investment, and nobody invest anything, whether money or whatever resources, and then just stands aloof. You just have to be in the know. You have to be in the picture of what exactly is going on there, so that you keep abreast of the development or the any negativity or whatever that needs correction. So as it was applied, it yielded fruit because the parents really have a good knowledge of what is happening with their words in the school. And when they are going astray, they know how to bring them back in line. So for me, I think as a school owner, it's not just to collect money from parents now and then believe we've taught the children. We need to get the parents involved, particularly in the area of homework, which practically we see that a lot of parents are not doing well, probably because they were so busy and then they just leave everything into the hands of the teacher. We need to make them understand that these are their future. Whatever they are doing, they should be involved. That is one. Then concerning the results, sorry, the second part.
The discussion, yeah.
The discussion area, yeah. So I think that one is basically between the parents with higher educational qualification and exposure and those of lesser. So those with higher educational qualification seems to be more adaptive to the program than those with lesser. So so the school, the Covenant school now had to do what? Encourage the other ones to come up and be more involved in it. So in summary, I think getting the parents involved to be part of the school will give them sense of belonging. And of course, they will really come to appreciate what the school is doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Awesome. Yeah, next, Reverend Christian.
Well, in fact, from all indication, I gathered that your school is a middle class school. That's the first observation. And speaking from a middle class point of view, it looks a bit different from market women approach view. But you have also made a very important point that you have tried different approaches. You cannot pin yourself to only one approach. That's one of the things I get. That when you are thinking of mental involvement, just think that because you have one try different, and each of them produces its own results, and you are combining them all, which is very, very important. And of course, everybody knows that parental involvement is very, very important. But I tell you, when you are running a school where majority of the parents are market men and women, it's a different game. Let me tell you, some days when the school is on vacation, they'll beg you, can we bring the children to the school so that you can keep them for us? We go to market. It's effort. It's all this. In our own case, well, we have, like it's been mentioned, ensuring that parents are involved in their children's homework is very important. Open day, which will encourage parents to come and talk with the teacher of their children to know how the children are doing. And is another place where emphasis could be made on parents and how they can avail themselves to the development of their children. So I go to a point where in our school, we now brought a law that no parent will come to the school classes and session. Because when you tell them this, the next thing they do is that they start coming to the school at any time and they'll be disturbing the teacher. So we made a law. You can, when you come to the gate, unless you are going to the head teacher or you're going to the admin block, nobody will let you inside the school. So you go to the class to disturb the teacher. But all the same, I've read what you were very, very encouraging, but it made a serious point that it is a very, in fact, without the cooperation of the parents, you can achieve nothing. As we keep telling them, the children are with us in the school only for barely 7 hours, and they are with them for the remaining 16 hours. So they have a responsibility. The school has their own responsibility, and unless they key into their own responsibility, the efforts may not be as successful as they expect. Do you know that at times the school will vacate? Parents will not come and pick their children's results. And when you ask them, not that they're owing anything, they don't have time to come because they are going. So it's a different ballgame. But what you have drawn a good attention to us that it is an area that school proprietors must be very much interested in. Not just collecting money and then leaving anything to go haywire. Parents are very necessary.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. And we're going to have an assignment in that regard. Emeka, thank you.
Thank you very much. It's really been impactful. I really love
Especially
this
as a
part
new
of
dad.
parent. Yes, I really love this part of parent involvement I have the privilege of being the parent. So one of the things I wrote out a few points that I received regarding parents' involvement. You know, one of it is the effect that it has on the stakeholders. You see, just like we were studying policy learning, policy borrowing. You know, as a parent, you know, not just looking at it, okay, because they say I should get involved with with my children's education in school, so that if I don't do it, they will not pick me out. But looking at the emotional side of it that it has in the child, looking
Mm,
at the emotional
mm,
aspect that it
mm,
has in the child. One
mm,
of it is that self-confidence
mm.
that the child tends to
And
exhibit,
when
knowing that
parents are, wow,
his
yeah,
dad is involved in
involved.
what is
Yeah.
happening in the school, coming to volunteer. You know, your son or your daughter seeing you and you're coming to volunteer. There's no way that thing you try to pass it across to them that they won't take it. And also, you know, practicing going through what they've done together at home and not just leaving it to
Yeah.
the teachers alone, and also communication, asking them how was school, what did you learn, how, you know, you teach me what you learn, and just so that you feel what they are feeling, you feel what they are going through in school, so that you can be able to connect with them.
Awesome.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you. That was very encouraging. Thank you. Effie, how was the going through all the P study, P square, T test? Effie, do you have something to share?
Yes, okay. So these results, yes, it looks at the results of a series of tests that was taken for the parents involvement program.
Mm-hmm.
So two groups of parents were involved in this program, and there was the control group who did not volunteer, and there was the group, the experimental group, who volunteered. And the results are very, very the results are something. So it was according to the parent involvement factors stated in the scale, and these are areas in which parents get involved with their children, and they separated it into two things: importance and frequency. Importance is how important they found getting involved in each category. Let's say now, parent-teacher interaction, media, and so on. And the second one is frequently, is how often did they get involved after going through the test. So there are a series of tables, and the first one was, and one thing that stuck out to me was it was actually in the gender. In the gender. So in the gender table here, in the gender results, the control group who did not volunteer was not considered, just the experimental group who volunteered. So one thing it showed was that the importance at which parents took those key aspects, that is those aspects categories to be considered for male children, was significantly more than how important they found it to be involved for female. the the it is actually is a disappointing result, but
It's the truth.
it's the result. The value here in terms of importance of interaction for male is 4.3, and for female is 0.7. So this is a huge gap. But
Wow.
the frequency at which, so the frequency actually shows that they learned that they were not doing enough, and they said let them do more. So the frequency of getting involved after going through the program for male was 0.3, which means they said I'm already doing enough, no need to do more. But for female, they knew I'm not doing enough, I have to do more. So
Yeah.
the frequency increased to 3.6. That is
Wow.
3.3, significantly more than
Wow.
the male. So it shows that okay, the female child is also important, and I have to step up in this regard. Other
Wow.
factors that were considered here is number of children. So number of children that each parent had, then number
Wow.
of each children that each parent had, then the qualification of the parents.
Of
That
the
is
parents.
parents who
Really?
went to college or parents who did postgraduate degrees. So
Wow.
if it shows that parents who had postgraduate degrees took increased their importance in which they found the program by 1.2 more than parents who had college degree. But the frequency is slightly the same. So that is just what I
Same.
observed. Mostly the gender, when it came to gender.
Wow. Thank you.
Gender in the results.
That was even that gender one, I'd missed it. Thank you. That was really, really so in we're rounding up. It's been amazing. I'm sure you can see studies have shown, and it's one of the things that you learn when you come to the UK. Parental involvement is so critical. Getting parents involved. Even there's a paper that came out that the success of the British educational system is because parents got involved with the public schools. They have what is called a governor system in the public schools, where parents and even just anyone in the surrounding, this government instituted that anyone in that locality can apply to be a governor in the school, and their focus is to make sure the school is performing. And I want to encourage us. This is a case of not policy borrowing, but policy learning. Many of us have started schools and we have a PTC, parents, as it's called, Parents Teachers Collaboration. I think, what is your school called? What's it called in your school, sir?
Parents Teachers Forum.
Parents Teachers Forum. But we determine, what about Mr. Lauren Graham?
Yeah, Parents Teachers Forum.
Forum, okay. As is Parents Teachers Collaboration. But we determine how they operate. They come to the school and we tell them how we should operate. We could get the parents to be more involved. We could get the parents to hold us to our goals, and we tell them, these are our goals for this year. We want you to help us. If we tell them that we need them, not for them to control the school, no. And doesn't mean you don't, discipline them like Reverend Christian said. But you look at what is going on and say, how can I get the parents involved to hold us responsible? This is what we promised to do after you set your goals. Now, parents, can you come and check? Because if you get the parents involved, you're going to see them even bringing things onto the table and cover your weak areas. This is what studies have shown. And so you have parents that are volunteering free. They're not being paid. Even in our daughter's school in the US, I said to them, because I'm going to be doing a training in Nigeria when I come down in September. We're going to be telling you a little bit about it. They have what is called mentoring program. That is an old parent. So for example, if a new parent or a new child comes into class 3, an old parent will look out for the new parent and help them to enjoy the school. They did that for me and it was so easy. I was like, what? We don't have this in Nigeria. So parental involvement, if you can look for how to do it without them interfering with what is happening in the critical, day-to-day running, but give them an aspect where they can hold you responsible, it will do so much. And studies have also shown that parents that have problem with maths transfer that maths pressure to their children. So if we can get parents comfortable with learning maths and actually have ways of getting to know what do they feel about maths, and let them know that if you feel better about maths, there's actually a course in aviation school where they get the pilots to bring their spouses or their partners to the to learn aviation terms, because they find out that pilots are more susceptible to crashing if their home is not in order. So just having a partner that knows, oh, this is an attitude meter, this is the cockpit, this is what the cockpit looks like. They can discuss it at home and makes the pilot do a lot better. And also, being Nigerians, if you put financial incentives to getting them involved, like for example, if they're not involved in their homework, and say parents who get reward 6 merits, they will have a discount, even if it's 500 naira. You'll see how they will get used to it. Or you just find something, and that way, like Emeka pointed out, children do a lot better when the parents are involved in their homework and they're not too busy. So for parents that are very busy, if you tell them that there's a financial incentive, we tried it out in our school and it's worked. We had what do you call it? We also use the children. We have rewards for parents that come for PTC meeting. And so the child gets a reward in class and is able to get a special gift. So the child is like, Mommy, Daddy, you have to come. You have to come. And we had more parents coming for the PTC meetings as a result of their children being on their case. So we encourage you to see, where are you now with parental involvement in your school? What growth do you think is possible? And are you ready to overcome the challenges? Thank you so much. And this is your assignment. Look at what you wrote down as your goals. Remember, you had goals in your vision. Will the knowledge acquired from this seminar, has it caused you to change or improve on those goals? Please send in your assignment. And if you like a certificate of participation, we're using incentive now. You must send in your assignment. We're not just going to give you certificate of participation if you don't apply it. Okay? And give us feedback. That's one of the things that one has learned. And an admin fee of 5,000, we can give you a participation certificate. It's optional. You don't have to have it. And we have a feedback form, and there's a Google link that's going to be sent to you by WhatsApp. These are, if you want to get more information, we're posting free resources every week on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. And the conference is coming up, VO1 Educators Conference. Day 1, we're talking about building a sustainable vision for the educator. Day 2, upgrading your school's curriculum to become a globally relevant school. How do you upgrade your curriculum? And then day 3, we're going to be overcoming challenges in schools. Security, for example, is an issue in Nigeria. It can be overcome. You'll be surprised, and you have the answer. You know exactly what to do concerning the security situation, the hiring of guards and all that. We're going to look at case studies of those who studied the environment. We want to enable the school owner, the school leader, to become the expert concerning their school. Study your environment. What are the security issues we have? How best can we overcome that? Then, for example, one of the things we have done, and honestly, we've not had any issue of, at Emeka, when did we have a problem with robbery? It's a long time ago.
It's been very long.
It's been very long. But we hear about robbery happening in other people's schools. There are steps that we've taken. Prayer is one of them, as being a faith-based school, asking God for wisdom. And the way we choose, we would rather be without a security staff. Right now we have 2. We're supposed to have 2, we have only 1. We make sure that we are giving incentives to the security staff, not necessarily money. And also to ensure that they have their pastors' backing. They have their pastors' backing. So if you look at the situation as on ground, funding, schools need funding. We know about the challenges that we have. I don't know, for example, we rent and we are giving subsidized education. How do we access funding? Staffing is also having so many fake certificates out there. How do we hire competent staff? These are things we're going to look at. And also how to increase our enrollment. So that's what we're going to be having, September 24 to 26. If you're interested, it's going to be hybrid. I'm going to be in Nigeria. Please register. And each day is standalone. It's 9 to 3. And then from 3 to 5, you do your assignments. And there are discounts. It's 50,000 Naira. Normally, such courses go for 100, but because we're just starting, we are just keeping it at 50. Discounts even more available for groups. And if you know someone who wants to attend, but they're not financially capable, they just need to show us proof, and we would also give them discounts because we want to build Nigeria. Thank you very much. And we are good to go. It has been a long haul, and it has been amazing. I have learned so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I must say it's the Zoom meeting is really timely, really timely, and we hope to have more of it.
Yes,
we hope to have more of it.
When I get back, because I'm going to be in Nigeria September, October, we're going to start having monthly meetings like this, and we want to mentor and get you to a point where you are globally relevant. I didn't mention that we want to encourage you to start connecting to global associations. They really help. From where you are, you can connect to their schools, associations here in the UK that you can connect to.
All right.
Yeah. And then the
conference, is this going to be at a location or just online?
It's going to be at a location in Abuja.
Okay, you don't have the location yet?
Oh, yes. At our church facility. Everything is already there.
At where?
It's close to Bolingo.
Bolingo. Okay. Is there any way you can just send the location to us via WhatsApp?
I will. I'll do that. We have
right, thank you very much.
It's fully equipped for hybrid connecting online. So we have people connect because we have people connecting from different parts of the world and also from different parts of Nigeria if they can't come physically.
So the seminar can be online as well. So it can be online as well.
Everything we do is hybrid. All our church services are hybrid now. Yeah. And so we want to encourage you, please, even before then, try to read about networking. We're going to be looking, and we're actually going to make you not force you, but show you sites, network with them, share views, develop that global mindset. We want to take your school to that point where you're having international students coming and connecting. It is possible. We have something to offer. We just need to offer it.
All right, Mom.
All right, bye. Please, I'm expecting your assignment. So grateful. Thank you so much.
There's no problem. All right.
A wonderful time. And I look forward to actually seeing what Reverend Christian looks like. Mr. Alorugbemi, would you like to know what he looks like?
Of course, I will. Reverend, why did you turn on your video?
He refused to come on. I keep trying to turn it on. He refused to come in.
Wow.
So maybe you can send us a picture by WhatsApp, and then I'll give it to Mr. Alorugbemi. I'll give it to Mr. Fele. All of us that were here that didn't see your face.
Yeah, I think that possible.
All right, Mr. Meka, well done.
You're almost enjoying evening now when we are just thinking of for lunch.
But one thing is for sure, when we meet in September, by God's grace, it's just going to get stronger and stronger, the connection, and by God's grace, we will be able to take Nigeria. We are thinking Nigeria, we're thinking global.
That's good. That's good. God bless. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Ma.
Bye, sir.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
So I wonder what was happening with Mr. Fele, though.
He's saying he's not able to unmute, but I think I made him. Oh, he has logged
he said, well done, man. So that means he heard us.
Yes.
But he didn't contribute. Anyway, I'm catching them next week. And to God be the glory. How was that, Efe? I want your feedback. That was amazing.
It was amazing. I learned self. I took notes here. I took notes here. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
I realized I can apply this to other
Everything.
aspects, not only
Oh.
because I'm not the owner of a school, but I could apply it into another field.
Yes, you got that right. I was going to mention it. This principle is applied in everything they do in the UK. Everything. If you can implement it even in your life, where are you now? Where do you want to get to globally? Do you know that from the computer engineering you've taught, I don't know what direction you want to go into, okay? Determine that direction. Do you want to teach it? Is there anything when you were studying the computer engineering that you felt is the missing link? Okay, it's something you can give to society. My husband calls it the fruit. You can package it, Effie, and start to sell it.
Okay.
Online.
Online.
Think about it.
I have to think about it now because this I'm entering into a new phase, and the direction is really important.
Do you know what my husband did? He said to everyone, Emeka, you remember, he said no minister was going to leave the conference until they had opened an email. He made all of them at the ministers' conference. 4 of them have gotten back to us. They are preaching in Pakistan online.
Wow.
They didn't have to leave Nigeria. And people are connecting. And look at what we did. We recorded it on YouTube. Even if people had problems like Mrs. Babalola, we can send the YouTube